Ops are dropping. First Cheryl Swoopes, now Cindy Brunson. Who else of the Hatelins got the axe this season?
We have now seen both Cindy Brunson, we saw Cheryl Swoopes no longer being a play-by-play announcer.
Brunson, who formed the Mercury's first all-female booth in 2023, responded on social media with a Bob Marley quote.
Or implied anyway, that the Indiana Fever needed to do something about Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA just fired another announcer who criticized Caitlin Clark, and the pattern is becoming impossible to ignore.
It's not good seeing people lose their jobs. However, if you're going against who is the biggest draw in the league, who is the biggest name in the league.
Cindy Brunson is the latest casualty in what seems like a league-wide purge of Clark critics. First, it was Cheryl Swoopes losing her job, then Kennedy Carter trying to backpedal, and now Brunson is out at Phoenix Mercury. Is the WNBA's new anti-hate task force actually just a hit squad targeting anyone who speaks against their golden goose? The evidence is stacking up, and you need to see this.
And Cheryl Swoopes are now gone. I do think that from some of the stuff that they were posting on social media, like, it's not the greatest look.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. You know what's crazy? The WNBA isn't just letting people go, they're systematically removing anyone who doesn't fully support their new superstar. Cindy Brunson's firing from the Phoenix Mercury broadcast team isn't some isolated incident.
Revealed a revamped 2025 local broadcast lineup without any mention of Cindy Brunson.
It's part of a much bigger picture that's been developing since Caitlin Clark entered the league. Let's connect some dots here. First, Brunson loses her announcing gig, but if you look back, you'll notice this isn't the first time someone paid a price for not being on the Clark bandwagon.
We have now seen both Cindy Brunson, we saw Cheryl Swoopes no longer being a play-by-play announcer.
This is starting to look like a pattern, and that pattern has some serious implications for everyone working in and around the WNBA. The league has been talking a big game about their so-called secret task force that's supposedly fighting hate. But isn't it weird that the only people facing consequences are those who've expressed any kind of criticism toward Clark?
I think that she also said that the WNBA was fine before Caitlin Clark.
This task force that's meant to combat hate seems to be more focused on protecting a specific narrative than addressing actual problems in the league. When you really examine what Brunson actually said about Clark, was it really that offensive? Analysts criticize players all the time. It's literally part of their job. They break down weaknesses, question hype, and provide balanced commentary. That's what sports analysis is supposed to be. But apparently when it comes to Clark, different rules apply. The timing here is suspicious too. The Phoenix Mercury saw their viewership numbers go through the roof when they played against Indiana this season. Everyone knows the Clark effect is real. She brings eyes to screens. So is it really just coincidence that they fired someone who wasn't completely sold on the Clark phenomenon right after benefiting from her popularity? The owners are clearly watching those numbers, and they're making decisions based on what they see. And Brunson isn't alone. Look at what happened to Cheryl Swoopes. After she questioned whether Clark deserved all the hype she was getting, suddenly she ain't got no damn job right now.
But Cindy Brunson is gone. And whether or not she was good at her job, I hope that that's the reason someone was fired. But
Ops are dropping. First Cheryl Swoopes, now Cindy Brunson. Who else of the Hatelins got the axe this season?
Another coincidence? I don't think so. And there's Kennedy Carter trying to get back into the league after expressing similar views. The message being sent is crystal clear. Criticize Clark and watch your career opportunities disappear. The most telling part about Brunson's situation was that Instagram post right after losing her job.
Brunson, who formed the Mercury's first all-female booth in 2023 responded on social media with a Bob Marley quote,
Posting that Bob Marley quote about only recognizing your friends when it gets dark around you, that speaks volumes.
"True friends are like stars. You can only recognize them when it's dark around you." Uh-oh. Ruh-roh, Shaggy.
Though friends are like the stars, you can only recognize them when it's dark around. That's not just a random quote. That's someone feeling abandoned and betrayed. That's someone realizing who stood with her when things got tough. And how did fans react to Brunson's firing? The celebration on social media tells you everything you need to know. One fan straight up wrote, "I don't want to celebrate people losing their job, but Cindy Brunson was legit unlessable on the microphone." That kind of reaction shows just how powerful the Clark effect really is. People are actually cheering someone losing their livelihood because they weren't fully supportive of their favorite player.
As Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is, I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
Replacing Cindy Brunson. So Cindy Brunson is no longer there.
The evidence is stacking up here. This whole situation reeks of a coordinated effort to protect the WNBA's golden goose. Clark represents the biggest financial opportunity the league has ever seen, and they're not about to let anyone threaten that, even if it means silencing legitimate analysis and commentary.
Or implied anyway that the Indiana Fever needed to do something about Caitlin Clark.
Yet, as the dust settled on another banner year for women's basketball, some familiar voices on the sidelines quietly fell out of favor.
Think about what this means for journalism and sports analysis. Are we really at a point where announcers and commentators have to worry about losing their jobs if they don't praise certain players enough? What happened to honest assessment and critical thinking? The WNBA is creating an environment where people are afraid to speak their minds, and that's dangerous for the integrity of the sport. What makes this even more concerning is who might be next. The dominoes are already falling. If you work in WNBA media right now and you've ever said anything less than glowing about Clark,
Cindy Brunson went into a Twitter space and said some really not good things. I can't remember exactly what they were.
you're probably looking over your shoulder. This purge sends a message to everyone: get on board or get out. And now we're hearing that Natalie Esquire could be next on the chopping block. That's right, the rumor mill is churning, and social media is buzzing about who's going to face the WNBA's invisible axe next. This should terrify anyone who covers the league. What we're seeing isn't just a few random firings, it's a systematic message being sent. Speak freely about Clark, and suddenly your position might not be so secure anymore. The question we should all be asking is simple. Is the WNBA building a league where honest analysis can thrive, or are they just protecting their new cash cow at all costs?